Hello, one, two. Oh, there we go. Cool. All right, so I started going to some of these early Comfy UI meetups, started talking with the community, started learning, and I really wanted to bring it to a bigger space and really become a nexus for artists, technologists, filmmakers, designers, everyone to come under one roof and be able to share knowledge, connect with each other, work on projects. And that's what we did starting in July 2025. So basically 1 year ago, we had our first Comfy UI NYC meetup in this room. And over time, it's grown. It's over doubled in size. We've had the opportunity to have amazing speakers from all over the world come and share their workflows and tools and creative processes with all of you. We've also had the chance to work with some awesome sponsors. We saw Lightrix drop their LTX2 model on this stage. We saw Overworld drop their models, Waypoint 1.0 world model on this stage. And Bria has also explored a bunch of workflows with their image generation models here as well. And we're really excited to expand the scope of the event and include more creative tools and workflows, including commercial models and commercial platforms. We found at ZeroSpace in our creative work that you end up using a lot of things and pulling the strengths from one workflow and one model into the strengths of another, and really working around the limitations of the technology available. And so I thought it would be really valuable for us to bring in the rest of the creative AI community into the fold. Yeah, Eric, do you have any thoughts there?
Yeah, thank you for the awesome intro, and what an amazing space. And so before I get into it, I actually want to take a quick poll. Who is here for the first time? Okay, about half.
Welcome.
Okay,
Give
welcome.
yourselves a round of applause for coming out.
Yeah, welcome. Talking about creative AI, who has used some kind of creative AI, maybe like video generation, image generation, anything like that, in the last month? Okay, that's most people. Okay, keep your hand up. In the last week, in today. Okay. We are in a room of a lot of creatives. So, for those who are here for the very first time, welcome to our community. We thank you for being here. And maybe we'll do like a 30-second exercise. If you're here for the first time, turn to your neighbor and tell them what your name is and what brought you here. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. That's great. All right, love it. Okay, I'm gonna count from 5, and then we'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and scene. Okay, now that we're all friends, you're all here for a very special edition of this event series. So last month we took a little bit of a hiatus, and we sent out a community survey because today it's so, like, the world that we live in is so different than when we started this event 2.5 years ago. Back then, literally what I was trying to do is find some people to like commiserate about this like little niche open source software that I was using called Comfy UI that was like breaking my Python environment every week. and now Comfy UI is like one of the fastest growing startups in Silicon Valley. They recently raised around a $500 million valuation. We also live in a world where there is Flora and Krea and Magnific and Black Forest Labs, and the list goes on and increases every single week, right? So when we sent out this survey to ask the community, what do y'all want? What do y'all want this event to be? It was pretty clear that the answer was like, well, we definitely want to still have Comfy UI as a main event, as a consistent theme, but we also want to see more, like because there's so much more that's happening. And coincidentally, that's also the direction of Comfy org, right? Like there's all these nodes that are built that plug into all these APIs. So hence we have rebranded into NYC Creative AI to include more tools, more creativity, and more people to be a part of this community. So welcome, thank you for all being for being here. The last thing I wanna say is that this community is really built by you for you, and our mission is to empower creatives to use AI to really do great work, to do the work that you want to do. So I really encourage you to mingle and meet other people. People here are from incredible backgrounds. Even though some people are maybe here and learning about creative AI for the first time, but a lot of times they come from just really interesting background. Like everyone's here for a reason, and they all have interesting stories. So I really encourage you to meet each other. So maybe to kick tonight off, we have a great program for you. Do you want to talk a little bit about the program?
Yeah, thank you, Eric. So we'll start off with an announcement from Bria, who just dropped a new model. And then we have a talk from Matt from Comfy.org, who's here tonight. And then I will actually be presenting about some of the stuff that I've been working on in terms of using AI with real footage captured on this stage that we're standing in front of here, and then using AI to do post-processing, which I'm very excited about. And then we'll show two films that were winners of the recent Runway Film Festival. Who here's heard of the Runway Film Festival? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so every year, the quality of the entries and winners has just been consistently going up. And we thought that it would be nice to share some of that with you and be able to talk about it after, get inspired, etc. So we'll show two films from that. And then we'll be able to mingle a little bit, but we're gonna try to get out of the space by like 9:30. So there's a brewery that we all like to go to called Threes that's like down the street, and we can continue the conversation there. And then a couple housekeeping things. We have bathrooms towards the end on the left, or towards the back of Studio B, which is the larger room behind those doors. And we have pizza and drinks over there on that corner. We have Wi-Fi here. The details are on that little like info stand right there. And yeah, come ask me if you need anything else during the event. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. If you could please welcome Gil Scheffler. He is a partnerships manager at Bria AI. They've released a lot of open source AI models, and they have presented here in the past and sponsored previous events. And he is here to talk about a new video background removal model. Please give a warm welcome to Gil.
Thank you so much. By the way, for many of you guys, it's the first time. I think this is maybe the third or fourth time I've come as just an attendant. First time I'm speaking. And every time I have like wonderful conversations, I meet people. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. So I am Gil from Bria AI. Quick show of hands. How many people here have heard of Bria? Oh, nice. Okay, fantastic. So for those who don't know, I'm in the right place to introduce the guys who don't know. We train foundational models, image and video editing models from scratch, exclusively on legally sourced content, which means that we pay the data distributors, we pay the creators for all their content that goes into training our models. And it's a key part of our company ethos, which is to reward and empower creators. So if that resonates, good clap. And it definitely sets us apart from many of the other models in the business. So that's our first differentiator. But the second one is that we have a whole family of models. They're all API-able. They range from image generation to upscaling and in painting. And you can weave them, you can work them into your workflows and pipelines and have control. Oh, there we go. I love this guy. Okay, interesting pose. We'll get to that in a second. So it's a mystery. You're gonna have to wait a few seconds. And so we have a whole range of models that you can pull into Comfy. They're all nodes on Comfy and are all available on distribution platforms like FAL, Replicate, Runware, etc. Okay, so for tonight's news, we just dropped on Comfy our brand new video background removal. Can we have the guy with the pose, please? There we go. Fantastic. So if you're building workflows around talking head content, people dancing in all sorts of ways and shapes, our new video background removal is 2 times better than the next best model based on third-party testing. It is 9 times faster. It costs 0.0042 cents per second. And the idea here is to save you time, okay? And take away the painstaking element in pipeline and video editing and creation. So we're very proud of this new model. We think that a lot of the AI is kind of like, can sometimes be thought experimentation, but this one really gives you like value day one. So that's what it's brand new and Comfy. Go check it out. It's there. And finally, can we have the last slide, please? There we go. Okay. So we're giving away free APIs. Just if you want, you can take out your phones, read the QR code. You get a bajillion API calls. I don't know exactly how many, but they're significant. If you run out, let me know. I'll give you more. And you can test all our APIs, and you tell me if you like them or not, if they help you or not. And just one last thing. If you sign up tonight, we have a new, very cool creative tool coming out that we haven't announced anywhere. I have seen it. It does things you don't have in the market. There are so many cool tools, but this is unique and really helpful. Sign up today with this QR code, and you'll enter that kind of list of people who will have first access to this new tool. Okay, that's it from me. I just thank you again for having me. And if you have any questions, I'm going to be hanging out in the back. You can come and say hello, shake hands, and ask questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gil.
Thanks.
Right. Yeah, do you want to introduce the next speaker, Eric?
All right. Yeah. The next speaker is Matt from Comfy Org. Matt is usually based in San Francisco, but he is visiting us in New York. Welcome to the Big Apple, Matt. Maybe take a minute to get set up.
Cool, thank you. First off, I want to say thanks to the organizers here, and this is my first time to the space. It's very cool. It's what as a Californian, it's what I envisioned a Brooklyn event space to look like, so in a big warehouse. So yeah, my name is Matt Miller, Comfy. I work out in San Francisco with the team, back-end engineer on the team, and I'm going to present some of the really cool stuff we've been working on recently. I guess I'm going to ask for a show of hands as well, because I want to get a sense of who's in the audience tonight. So how many of you have used Comfy UI? Okay, cool. And then have any of you used the MCP yet? Okay, cool. So some people, that's good. Got a bunch of fresh meat here tonight. That's nice. I'm going to talk about how Comfy can basically be used by anybody now. Well, let's get into it. So I like to say there's 1,000 nodes of power, more than 1,000, many nodes. If you don't know what Comfy is, for those of you that have not used it, it's a workflow generator for image and video generation. So you can build workflows to do all sorts of AI generation with all sorts of models, open source partner nodes, and it can be a little bit daunting. We have this amazing community of creators that have learned how to use this thing at an expert level that is mind-blowing to me even, and I work there. So it's really cool, but we could see how it was a little bit maybe inaccessible to some people, that maybe it was big learning curve at the beginning. So when I first came into the company, we had a lot of things that we wanted to do, and I had come from a couple startups in the AI space. And my first thought was we gotta bring some agentic stuff into this. And so I started to work on an MCP to sort of open this up, the power to everybody, not just like the experts in this field. By the way, we call, if you ever use Comfy, we call, I don't know if you guys call it that, but the wires that connect the nodes, we call them noodles. So that's what that means, if you were wondering. So very simply, the way the MC, and actually let me get another show of hands. How many of you even know what an MCP is? Okay, good. So I won't over-explain that. I'll explain a little bit, but the idea being that Comfy UI is the engine. So like I said, sort of the underlying engine that has all of the models and all the workflows. And then we layer an MCP on top. For those who don't know what an MCP is a protocol that an agent uses, so like Claude or ChatGPT or Codex, Cursor, will use to interact with a system, an API. So you can basically give it access to your backend system, but embed in sort of agent instructions to it as well, so it's able to understand what exactly to do when somebody asks something in plain English. And so the way it works for our system is you ask any agent in plain text, plain English, plain whatever your language is, what you want it to do. It goes to the MCP client. It asks the MCP client to do it. That client chooses the tools that it wants to use to do this, that you've sort of baked into this MCP. And it sends it off to our Comfy cloud, and then returns you back an asset. So I know a lot of you have probably used the open source Comfy. The MCP currently runs on our cloud, which again is another layer of accessibility to people. The Comfy UI does image and video generation. You can run it, on your machines, but a lot of people don't have access to GPUs. So we've opened up the cloud late last year. So you don't need the hardware in order to run these workflows and to run these image generations. I'm going to show you a couple quick demos on how it will work. And if you all would please pray to the demo gods for me, because you know how that goes. So this was like an example, but we'll do one live here right now as well. This would be basically text to image. So I asked Claude, make me a Brooklyn creative studio at night, and gave it some colors. So let's see if we can put Claude on here. Where are we at? So some of you may or may not use Claude Code, but this will also work in Claude Desktop. And you see, I did just a basic text generation, generate an image on Comfy Cloud with Flux Pro, Brooklyn Creative Studio at dusk. And Claude's, it kind of knows where to go through the MCP. So we'll see if it comes back with something. I should have had something prepared for the wait time, sorry. If we want to look a little bit deeper into it to see exactly what it's doing, we can. So for those that use Comfy, you'll be able to see that it actually builds out, either grabs a workflow that's already in Comfy Cloud or builds it out. So this is what you would have had to do by hand, by either in the interface or present it with this big long JSON workflow thing that it builds automatically by itself. It grabs the model, submitted the job, and if we go, we can kind of see if it went in on Comfy. It finished it already, so we'll look at it here. So it looks pretty good, I think, right? So we're going to take the next step then. Now, the cool thing about it is you can use the output that you previously used for the next step. So if you wanted to change something about it, you just ask the agent, hey, just take what you just did and change something about it. So for this one, for example, you can see that it has, I've asked it to kind of change it to be like a cyberpunk sort of neon light type of thing. Oh, yeah, there, pop the image open. So what we can do is we can just take what it created. I'm going to keep going as this, I'm going to kind of continue with the presentation. These things will pop up as they come, but basically you can do image to image generations. And then finally after that, you could make it move. So you could use, for example, you could use CDance to take an image and turn it into video. So what's really cool about this is like, I haven't interacted with the Comfy interface at all. I've literally just used the agent I was already using day to day and was able to create an image, was able to edit that image, was also able to make that image turn into a video. So you can imagine the ideas that you could have, and you just are basically using your plain language with an agent. What's really cool to me about this is it goes beyond just like a creative image. For me, I use this every day in my day-to-day work for things that I do. So for example, we use Notion as like our document hub. Notion has an MCP. I use Notion's MCP to read documents and create documents based on things that I needed to do. If I need a visual diagram for like an architecture for a server setup or something, I ask Claude to create a Notion document. It creates the document. I say, please use Comfy to do a visualization of the diagram for the non-technical folks and add it to the document. And I haven't opened up Notion. I haven't opened up Comfy. It's created a whole architecture diagram and has visualized it for people. And it's just me talking to my agent. So it's really powerful. There's a bunch of other ideas that you could do. So these are some of the things that I've done with this. I've used Substack to write blog posts, and I wanted images for that blog post, consistent images. So I wrote the blog post and I asked it to do that. I actually wrote the Substack MCP because I don't have one. So I created one myself, but pretend they do, and you could do that. I use Slack to pull requests from Slack channels and create images and post them back to Slack to the team. The calendar, for example, you have an event coming up, you need something for this wall in this place. You could just say, hey, I've got this event and here's a description, make something. And then finally, this is one that I really like is Fireflies as an AI note taker. And so we'll be, Luke and I, he's here from Comfy too. We'll be in a meeting. We're talking about something. I don't want to forget it. Fireflies is an AI note taker. I go, hey, Fireflies, can you take this? Can you create all my tasks? Can you put it in Notion? And can you create any visuals that we need for it? And I haven't done any, I've just talked at a meeting and then asked my agent to do a thing. So this is like that missing piece in my mind of like the creative image and video that like, there's nothing like it that I've found that's really like useful from an image and video generation. We also do audio and 3D modeling as well. It's a little, well, some people don't know about that. And most people use it for image and video, but there's all sorts of things that you can do with it. Case in point, wait. I built this whole deck that way. So everything you're seeing today, I talked to my agent and said, please make these slides. I looked at them. They said, use Comfy to like do anything and all the branding and all the visuals for it. And when I needed to make tweaks, I just asked Claude again and it made the tweaks. And we just kept going back and forth until this slide deck was built. Let me go back one slide. The way that it works in general is there's a bunch of tools that we have fed it. And this is still in beta. So we're definitely excited to have people use it and bring their ideas to it. So we would love the people that are really experienced with Comfy to use it as well, because you all will really know sort of maybe some of the things that you're missing in this experience. But so you'll see stuff like this, like search templates, run templates, submit workflows, update workflows. That's sort of the bridge between your agent and our server to generate these things easily. We just released it and it took off. So much faster than I thought it was going to, which is really cool. I built this as like a first week POC when I first joined Comfy, and then had some great people on the team kind of help bring this shout out to Joe, who's our sort of product lead over there. She's done amazing work. She's not here, but I pointed there, but she's not there. Sorry. She's the product lead. She's done some great job with like go to market and kind of getting this beta out to the world. And it's been really exciting to see. We've got 91 countries using it already on 6 continents. I'm guessing the one continent is Antarctica that didn't use it, so that's good, full coverage. And you can see that we sort of have had a spike. So it's great. And with that has come a lot of, again, like I say, I'm really eager for more user feedback as we use it, because in just the past, I'd say week or two, we've probably released 10 new versions of it, because every day we're just getting feedback and we're adjusting it and tweaking it. And we're really excited to kind of work with the community on this. And that's obviously what has made Comfy UI so successful and an exciting place to be, is the community. So really encouraging people to jump in on it. The one thing I do want to stress is that, I've talked about how this is like really good for beginners. But what we really want it to be is a tool for the entire community. So we've not only made it easy to create images and videos through the workflows, but we are working on making it really solid for editing your workflows in Comfy. So I've seen some people on our team build workflows that you would never in your life sit down and build. We're talking hundreds of nodes with the new maybe some people have built it, but it's crazy and it does really cool stuff. It's not just for show. It's like things that would just take you forever to do as a human. So having the agent actually being able to interact with your graph and like edit it for you, we really want when we get that sample of approval from the experts of Comfy that this is helping them, to me, that's where we're going to say we've sort of finally made it to our like first major milestone of this product. You can add it today. If you go to docs.comfy.org, and actually let me show you real quick while we're standing here. I think this would be the best way to do it. So you see. If you just go to docs.comfy.org and go to the Cloud MCP right here, it's got all the commands that you need. Super easy if you use any of these tools. So yeah, I would just recommend go to Docs. You'll see it on the left sidebar. It comes packaged with skills that if you know something about agent skills or what kind of drive an agent, give them knowledge. We've open sourced those skills. So there's a Comfy skills repository in our GitHub organization. Again, another place that we would love community help to continue to perfect these. Some things to keep in mind that we are in research preview right now. So it is a beta right now. It is released open to anybody, but it is a beta. So have some grace with us and help us improve this product. And one thing that maybe I'm not supposed to mention, but I guess I will to you all and whoever's watching, coming soon, there may or may not be an agent coming that can interact with your workflow right within the interface. And the biggest thing that we've heard from the community since we launched this, the MCP works for cloud right now. Everybody's asking for the local open source MCP to work with open source Comfy. We are working on it. We've heard everybody loud and clear. So we want to make sure this is accessible to everybody. So I want to, again, thank you for having me here. We have our Comfy Discord if you want to join. That's also another place to interact with the rest of the community, get the links to these things if you forget about them. And happy to run some more live demos or answer any questions that you have. Thanks.
How much tokens do you use for the whole flow? Is there any? How much?
You can.
How much tokens did you use for the whole video generation and the whole flow on the cloud code side? And then also, is there any like limitation? Anything that is not good at?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So the question was how many tokens are used for these. So the average token cost when you're using the Claude, because we literally, I just read an eval yesterday to find this out. It's about 4,500 tokens between the input and the output. The actual generation of the image and the video is just like a download from the server. So it's costing you some tokens, but it's not like the whole output becomes part of your token cost. It's about 4,500 tokens per input output, give or take. Some things might take a little bit longer, take a few more tool calls, but we've worked really hard to try to keep that down to like any generation should take less than 6 tool calls, should be under this token amount. And so right now we're at 4,500. I'd love to improve that, but that's basically where we are right now. So yeah.
Thanks, Matt. I'm using, where do I start? A Hermes agent that I created, and so I saw that Rob from Comfy, I guess, had done this like C dance a workflow, and I basically wanted to take a picture of myself and put it into like
Yeah.
I wanted to be John Turturro in the video,
Yeah.
and so I'm using Telegram as well, right? So I'm like layered on layered, and I can't just like send the images or the videos to Comfy, right? Via the MCP. Does that make sense? It told me I had to go back to my computer and upload them.
It's a good question. Literally like 3 days ago, I updated our Hermes skill. We had a skill for a local MCP that somebody else had
Yeah,
built.
yeah.
I literally just submitted to the Hermes team. Yeah, it was like this week,
Mm.
an update for the cloud.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that process improves. The way that it works, like, yeah, if you're on it should be able to do that, because if you're on your computer, it's gonna like upload from your computer that
Yeah.
image or something. Or if you have the asset already in your cloud account, it should grab from that. But if it's not, like, we should.
But then
figure it out.
I have to know the name, right? The correct naming of it. I can't just like send the image from Telegram to my agent, which is connected to the MCP.
You should be able to.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
if it's
cool.
not working. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
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 Hi. My question is about the MCP server and the workflows. You showed a demo where you use the MCP server to sort of walk through like a process. But what if you already have a whole workflow built out in Comfy? Can you say, hey, use my XYZ workflow? That's one part of the question. The other part is, can you use the MCP to create your wall of noodles?
Yeah. Do we have a second to try it real quick?
Yeah.
This is one of those things that's like a little rough around the edges right now, but I'm confident that something will happen. I mean, something will definitely happen. It's just, hopefully it's the thing that I want to happen. Okay. So let's say like 1 second.
So nice to your Claude. I say, please. Come on.
They say that that it's costing like the earth water by saying please and thank you. I don't know. It's an insurance plan for the future, I guess. Very simple, but and then. Yeah, and just while this is working, I will say that the tools that I hinted at is exactly like targeted toward what you're asking, like through the interface itself. This is like, if you look at my workflows, these were all largely created through the MCP, through my tests. So I know it works, but it would be cool to be able to show that right now. We also have the ability to update your workflow through, so it can take an existing workflow and like update it. So it's supposed to work, but yeah.
A lot of times I'll download a workflow and it's just, like you said, it's a wall of noodles. Would the MCP server like help explain it to me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I use that a lot for certain things, like even if I don't know what like one of the nodes are or the subgraphs of that node, that's a key part of getting it to work well. And it's something that it's probably the majority of the time has been spent trying to make sure the agent has the right context and all of the right information. There's still some work to do. I think, we've talked a lot about enriching maybe the templates, metadata in agent speak or something like that, so it can quickly get an answer, because it does have to kind of go through the nodes and sort of understand them. But that's hopefully the intent of it. Yeah. Let's see if it did anything.
For Comfy Cloud, can it use like your custom LoRa's or fine tunes or other things that you might have on your local workflows, or is it pretty like you have to use the major things that are like already available.
Yeah, right now it can't interact with your local at the moment. This is just for the cloud.
Sorry, I mean on the cloud, can you eventually do like custom LoRa's and things like that?
Yeah, so you can have you used cloud yet at all?
No,
or-
not
okay.
yet.
So on cloud, it's somewhat limited because, well, there's a few things like, custom nodes, for example, are limited, very limited for security concerns because, you know how that goes. You can bring your own model, but it has to come from Hugging Face or Civet. So we do have like guardrails. There's like ways to bring those things in. We are working hard at finding a way to like open the cloud up in a safe way, so it can be as flexible as the local open source, but we're being very careful as we do that because you can imagine with a multi-tenant type of system where you got to be careful about leaking information, whereas when you're running it on your machine, you don't have to have those considerations, which is why a lot of the things in our platform and our ecosystem are built the way they are because they don't have to be concerned about like other people like that are in the system.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then one other question, when would you want to use the MCP versus like just the CLI? Because I feel like a model like Fable is really good at using the CLI already.
So that's a really great question. And if you were in our office, we have another engineer on our team, Kishore, who's like our CLI guy. And it's just us debating every day. We walk in and it's just like MCP and he's like CLI. We're like trying to convince everybody in the office to do it. I think we're going to like merge forces here soon. So I think the goal for me is to get us all like on a common language. So I working on updating the MCP to actually leverage the CLI, which is what a lot of MCPs do. So we can all kind of be like updating and not having to maintain a bunch of tools. They're all going to speak the same language. So I would say the MCP if I had to answer. But eventually I think they're all going to be kind of in the same stack. So by the way, it looks like we do have, it says it created a nano banana text to image. So let me refresh my workflows. Oh, there it is, popped up. Okay, very simple, but it created it and saved it to my account and I was just able to open it up. So you can ask it to do more complex things and create more complex workflows. Like this one was a cool one that I did. It used some already like existing first last frame. Which one was it? This one. It was like I used 11 Labs to do a voiceover for an infomercial type thing I did here, which was a first and last frame video generation. And that I didn't even touch. This was all generated by the MCP. I didn't even see this till after I was done with everything. So yeah.
Hi. First question is, if I want to generate customized images at scale, like thousands or millions if possible, is it possible with your MCP? Can I integrate it with any software that I just want to give a CSV file and one template image, and it should generate millions of customized images at scale at once?
So I guess the short answer is yes, under certain conditions. Now, what I'll say is a big initiative for us moving forward is to enrich our development platform. So for something like that, we will have SDKs available, so you can actually build scripts that might be a little more efficient than doing it through an agent, like through an MCP. You absolutely could. There's concurrency limits. Right now, we're working on trying to loosen those up. We've had some abuse on the platform that we had to kind of control for. So it wouldn't be millions automatically. You could run millions through us, and there would be a concurrency to some degree, but you wouldn't be able to do a million concurrent right now. But we hope soon that we'll be able to like correctly fingerprint abuse versus non-abuse and make the platform safe for everybody and allow you to do as many as you want at the same time, basically. Yeah.
Sure. Number two and last.
Yeah.
You just showed us generating an image and then giving another correction prompt to correct something. Can we point to a certain location and describe or show any other image as reference to make changes than just text?
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about Claude being the connecting tissue between all this, Claude can go search the web. Claude can download images to your computer. So wherever Claude can go and grab, it can use it as a reference for eventually for your workflows on Comfy, which is the beauty of it. I mean, I think this is kind of why I was trying to show that like there's probably MCPs to, I don't know, Getty Images or Free Pics, like some of these sites where you can like source images from. So the answer is yes, and there's probably 1,000 different ways you could do it. So it's kind of up to your creativity of how you want to source those images and how you want Claude to go and source them and grab them. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I got one. I don't need the mic. I'm real loud here. Yeah. So it's pretty good at figuring out, like, if you give it a new workflow, it's going to figure out how this works and how to use it and all that. But what if I'm like, what if I'm a baby and I like don't know anything and I'm just like, I'm describing what I want? Is it going to be able to figure out like, oh, this is a baby, that's adorable, and it wants a control net. It just doesn't know what that is. Like, how good is it at that?
Yeah, so I think the first demos that I was doing where I was just describing the image, the prompt I used was probably a little almost complex because I was kind of explaining the model I wanted, and you don't even have to do that.
Right, like you're just a baby.
Yeah.
It's going to go through the models and be like, oh, he probably wants this.
I want a picture of Peppa Pig or whatever. Yeah. And it'll do it. One of the things that's been really interesting is how agents determine what the best model is for image generation or video generation, because we have so many models on our platform. And so this is one of the things that I think would be really cool to have the community help with on the skill level as well.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, Nano Banana and Cdance's new model, which I think just dropped like yesterday, maybe on our platform. I don't know. It was recently.
Yeah, Cedar 5.
5, yeah. So really good with text. All the other ones, it's all like garbled text still with AI. And so if you're doing like an architectural diagram for like a system, you want to use Nano Banana or that one because you don't want text that you can't read.
Right.
So it absolutely can do what you're saying. Like you just give it the most basic prompt, it'll do it. I think where we need to improve and where we definitely want to continue to always be improving is
making those decisions for you of like, oh, this has text, I should use that, right?
Yeah, have Claude have some context in our skills to know this type of thing. Here's the best way to do that in the most efficient way. Yeah. But yeah, try it out and let us know if it works. Yeah.
All right, we'll do like 2 more questions, and then we're gonna move on to the next one.
Yeah, these
Okay.
people over here.
All right, over here.
Thank you. I just wanted to see if you could elaborate further on the Hermes skill that you said that you got through this week. That sounds super interesting to me.
Yeah, honestly, it's been more of a thing that I was talking about Joe earlier. She's been like working with the Hermes team to like get that as a skill. I don't know too much about it other than I wrote the integration to connect to the skill that we have that Hermes will then have sort of access and understanding of like what the Comfy Cloud MCP is. I know that a lot of people love Hermes, especially on our team. I've been heads down on behind the scenes right now. So I don't know, check it out, I guess, and let us know because yeah, I'd love to learn more about it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, last question. Oh, back there. Okay.
Hi, thank you so much for today. I just wanted to follow up with on the question. I'm not sure if it's too much to ask, but what if we can have like a responsive type of way to babysitting the new beginner who is onboarding Comfy UI? Let's say where you just generate the workflow using Nano Banana to create an image. What if you can point the beginner to say like, oh, we have this template in our landing page, maybe check out that. I think that would be cool too.
So are you saying explain to me like how you would use it in that example?
For example, while I'm completely new, and then I'm prompting, can I have a text to image generation workflow? And then there's one. And then maybe in the end of the response, there will be a way to point me to the templates. Check out our new release template, or there's another models, they might have different variation to generate different images, or like check out image to video, and there's more way you can explore Comfy UI. I think that would be cool too.
So having the agents basically be like a guide for you early. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, in theory, you should be able to ask it those things, but I definitely, it's a great idea in the sense that, you know, we don't necessarily know the skill level of the user that's coming in. We can answer the question, but maybe that would be a great thing to add where we can maybe have some early questions that if you tell, hey, I'm a beginner, we maybe have a different sort of path for you to take with the agent than if you're an expert already and already have a bunch of workflows that are saved. So no, I love the idea. I definitely look into it. Yeah.
No worries.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to move on.
Thank you.
It's 10 to 8. Thank you, Matt. You should find him afterwards because I see there's more questions. He's gonna be around, right? You want to stick around? Okay.
I'll be
cool.
here.
Cool. Okay. So for our next speaker, we're actually gonna shift things around a little bit. So can I have our lightning round speakers come up? So that is Christy and Javeth. Do we have Christy and yeah, you can come up first. Yeah. Is Javish also here? Oh, cool. Can you, can you come up and come over here? Okay, so for those who are new, every time during this event, we always have like a community lightning round where we bring out people, and you can sign up for these slots ahead of time. If you just go to the Luma, there's a link that links to the sign up. And the lightning rounds is around 3 minutes per talk.
Okay, here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Christy. I'm the founder of UGC Engine. But, you know, I'm not going to pitch you my company today, but I want to show you a creative workflow that you can replicate with all the tools that you already have to copy a competitor's ad. I'm going to show you a couple steps how you can do this. I only have 3 minutes, so I have to run through it very fast, so bear with me. Okay, so the entire secret is that when you copy a competitor's ad, you want to, we're not going to copy the footage or the music or the design, but we're trying to extract what's working. And that's usually their persuasion formula of the video. And so let me show you an example of how that works. Okay, here's one ad. Let's say we're trying to go get this ad. And the reason I picked this one is because this video has been running for 450 days. And so this is actually your step one. You want to find your competitor's longest running ads because it means that it's already converting, it's already working. And it's only a couple seconds. I'm going to show you real quick what this ad is about.
I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we eating steak, remember sleeping on the floor. Stealing at the gas station.
Okay, so this is about booking a cheap hotel. And this ad has been running for, last 15 months. This is the step one I was talking about. There are two public sources you can use. One is Meta Ad Library. The other one is TikTok Creative Center. These are all public. These are excellent resources that you can go check out. And when you go onto these platforms, what you want to do is you want to sort by how long the ad has been running. Of course, if you're looking for a competitor's ad, you want to look in the same category. So in this particular example, I'm trying to, promote my product. Let's say it's a AI flight assistant. And so I'm looking at the ad That's in the flight. That's in the travel category, and that was the ad I just showed you is the one we try to create. Okay, next step. We're going to give Gemini some eyes, and we're gonna have Gemini watch the ad for us. And this is a decode prompt. You don't have to copy this entire thing. I'm going to make the deck available at the end of the talk, so you can get access to this exact prompt. So this decoding prompt is going to extract the persuasion formula of that ad, and then this is the output of the analysis. So what it does is able to grab the hook mechanic, how it works, emotionally what's happening, as well as a second-by-second transcription of what happened in the ad. Step 3, you're going to gather all the information about your product. This is where you're going to fill in the details of who's the target customer, what problem you're solving, etc. You also want to include visual assets. Step 4, we're going to do the remix. Remix is a step where you take the decoded formula from step 2 and your product brief from step 3, and you're going to use this prompt to create, to give it to Claude. And the reason we give it to Claude is it's best at creative strategy. And then Claude is going to give you the video prompt. So step 5, you're going to pick your video generation service, whether that's Cdance or Veal or Grok. And then this is the result we come up with. So this, again, this is for a flight assistant that helps you book a flight in one conversation with AI. So it's actually the exact same structure, but completely different visuals. And it's not, you're copying the formula, persuasion formula, so to speak. And yeah, that's the entire workflow. And yeah, you can get access to the prompt and this deck through the QR code. Any questions? Yeah. So in this step, when you feed the, I guess, what Claude gives you back after the step 2 and step 3, you will also attach. So here, so you're going to attach your product brief, including your branding assets, your app screenshots, so on and so forth. So the video knows, what to include. But yes, you will ideally you will also give it the branding from your product. No. Yeah, so this is a workflow you can completely replicate yourself at home. Yeah, so UGC engine does the same thing, but it's one tool that does all 5 steps. It's at ugcengine.app. Any other questions? The original video was a successful video. It has been running for the last 15 months, which is why we're copying it ethically. So yeah, so the reason you want to select the video that has been running for a long time is, like if somebody's paying to run the same ad for 15 months, it's a very, very strong signal that it converts. So it depends on the platform. So for instance, on TikTok Creative Center, there's some videos. There's some statistics. There's some metrics that they also depending on the views that the video gets. There's some anonymization going on, but you get a sense from those public sources. So TikTok, Meta Ad Library and TikTok Creative Center. Sorry? You want me to play the first video? Oh, in the input. For this particular workflow, you were trying to extract one formula, but you can run the same prompt on multiple examples. Yes. So the question is why we're not giving visual examples? So when we give the prompt, we're going to upload. So the reason we use Gemini is for video understanding. So you're going to give Gemini the video as well as the prompt, in case that wasn't clear. So you're giving it both. Both the video itself. I think the best answer is to try it out. So I mean, like this is just a prompt that I personally use. Of course, you can customize it.
All right. Thank you, Christy. Quick, we have Javed. And then we have a very, very quick 1 minute one from Brian. Is that right? 1 minute? Okay. And then we'll go to Sherlong. You're good? Yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going? Can you hear me? Back there? We are sibling co-founders of a company called Just Video Studios. I'm Javish, she's Varnika, and we kind of built out a storytelling platform. We wanted to, as Eric mentioned earlier, there's so many AI tools out there. We kind of wanted to go beyond that and build out a storytelling system to kind of be different and stand out. And the idea behind this was, of course, instead of writing prompts, generating clips, stringing them together, we wanted to kind of imagine the core elements of a story and build the world around it. So build out, let's say, a character system, a location system, and weave an entire story around that instead of just writing like individual prompts and stringing together a film. I'd like to give a demo of the platform. If this is ready. What's up here? Yeah. So our platform is called CTE, short form for Cinematic Thinking Engine. And I'm going to run you guys through it really quickly. So this is the familiar canvas, but we wanted to give you an array of models to choose from. Everything's a template, from your characters to your locations to your props. You can create your own characters, but the idea is not to prompt much and go off of templates. So it's a very easy like starting point for people. You can like choose any of the props from the ones we give you or create your own. Similar with like wardrobes and outfits, you could like either upload your own wardrobe collection or choose from the ones we give you. It's easy to like choose character poses or like facial expressions because it's hard to write that into a prompt, because essentially when you're prompting, you're limited by vocabulary. We wanted to take that aspect away for beginners. And in this, of course, you can choose all the camera settings from the shot type to the lighting to the angle, and then click on generate after that. And then here you get an image. But other than that, of course, we have this character system. You can create your own characters, your own locations, and of course, you can like visualize all the different angles and poses of the character to keep it consistent through the story. The same for the locations, upload your own collections. And when you open up a character, there's a character hub, so you can like link assets to it, give descriptions. So whenever you create a film, it kind of takes all of that into context instead of you giving specific information. This is a story and scripting system. So essentially, we're trying to simulate stories. So we use all the different models out there, whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, and like generate similar scripts for the story. And you can like pick out dialogues. There's a GitHub system where you can merge different dialogues within a spine of the story. So it's easier to work off of, kind of like a brainstorming system. This is a shared collaborative canvas where your teams could work and like kind of storyboard on this. So let's say you can click on simulate, it creates a different scene for you. You can kind of like switch out individual elements in a scene. Let's say you don't like this car, you could like turn it into a black car and it will like kind of reflect across the film. The idea behind simulation is every industry out there, whether aerospace, defense, medicine, they kind of simulate entire outcomes before touching reality, right? Media and films were the only one that didn't. And we kind of wanted to change that because it's now possible with generative AI to kind of sample different things all at once simultaneously and then get the luxury of choosing. Because I truly believe that creativity is all about choosing because there's nothing new you're creating. Everything exists in this sample space of things, and taste is about selection and choosing. So we wanted to create a system for that. And that's a link to our platform. And take a picture and we can talk later. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Any questions, guys? No? No questions, I guess. Yeah?
Oh, here.
Thank you. So for the assets you built in the library you have, with all the people's cars, are they being resubmitted into the model as graphical assets, or it's been transcribed into
It's both.
context?
It's the prompt and like, let's say it's a character, every single pose of the character, or even if of a prop or a location. So like all 4 directions of the room. So everything's consistent throughout the story.
Got it.
Any other questions, guys? Well, thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, we'll do Brian, very quick one. And then after this, we will go to Sherlong. Yeah.
So I'm only going to be a minute. So if you want to scan this QR code that comes up, go ahead and do that. Let me know. Oh, okay, here we go. So this is called GenBuzz. It's at genbuzz.news. It's an AI film news aggregator and generative production. So I found myself having trouble keeping up with all the stuff that's happening in AI filmmaking. And so I just built this. And so basically, you can visit the website. You can filter on different things that you care about, tools. Oh, I thought I connected to the internet. Wait for it. Yeah. So you can filter on different things like funding, acquisition, legal, whatever you care about. Or if you want to get into like tracking models and stuff that are being announced on things like Hugging Face, you can do that. Just you can either subscribe and receive the weekly newsletter, and you can also filter the newsletter for the things that you care about. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Okay, next up, we have the ZeroSpace team with Sherlong and Bill. They are going to show off some new stuff that they've been working on.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Yeah.
Do you want to plug in first?
Yeah, I'll plug in first. All right. I'll give a little bit of context. So, what is ZeroSpace, first of all? Well, it's a venue. It's a production stage. It's the room that you're in today. We have a 60-foot LED volume, which you've seen our wonderful presentations on. And we also have an event space in the back. But beyond that, we also are a creative agency. So we create 3D animations, real-time rendering. We sort of have a background in immersive experiential as well. Before ZeroSpace was even the place we know today, it was a award-winning immersive gallery and immersive theater space in Manhattan. And so we've always been interested in this idea of live experiences, live filmmaking, live creativity. We have our motion capture stage there. And as these AI tools came out, we were really interested in how can we combine it with our existing workflows, right? So we have a background in 3D, real-time 3D, sensors, Touch Designer, Unreal. We've hosted meetups for these in the past, and we integrate all these technologies into our client. That's our reel. Yeah, there we go. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is a little bit of the work that we've done. So that sort of drive to embrace this new technology is what originally led us to start doing these meetups here at ZeroSpace. And in the meantime, while we've been hosting all these presenters, we've also been pretty busy at work on our own internal workflows. We've delivered several client projects using AI in different ways, from motion capture to 3D animation to face replacement. And I won't go into too many of those today because I just want to focus on virtual production and this idea of hybrid production. But happy to share more later, and you can also check out our socials, ZeroSpace, and website, zerospace.co, if you want to learn more about past work that we've done. So over the past month, we've taken the opportunity to use some of these newer video models like CDance, combine those with our existing techniques like virtual production and 3D, and do a bunch of tests. So we are sort of interested in this idea of like, can you take a real performance with real actors and then use AI to change elements, just like a VFX pipeline, and create worlds and create scenes and stories that traditionally would be pretty expensive or inconvenient or implausible to film, but use AI to fill that gap and help you get there. So, traditionally, a lot of these shots would take a huge team, lots of VFX, lots of rendering. Today, we're able to compress that down into an afternoon or even a few minutes. So this first example, we actually have a subway set here in ZeroSpace. It's blocked off right now, but we rent it out all the time. The issue is that this subway set, well, one, not everyone has a subway set, but two, the walls behind it are white, right? So they don't actually look like the tunnels behind. So we wanted to do a quick test. This is John, our CEO, who's in the back there. You can say hi to him later. He's the star of this show. He filmed a video himself, just sitting in Studio B over there, plain white lighting, and then he took this image on the right, which is actually taken from our set, but then using generative image, use it to just fill in the window, right? So this is actually not a real subway car, and actually there's a better video of this, right? So this second video is just our studio set. The third video is a V2V using the second one and just passing through CDance, and then the third one is combining everything as a reference and running through the whole pipeline. So from a simple reference video, so the third one, honestly, you can go out today on the subway and take this video, and then combine that with the first video. It could just be you, it could be your actor friend, and then composite these in CDance, or any video model that's capable enough. Right now, we found in our testing that the go-to one is CDance, but Kling is also very strong. Google just released Omni, so there's a selection depending on your needs and requirements. All right, so that's the first one. The second one, we wanted to shoot like a kind of a action genre scene. So this was shot on our stage. So we had a Unreal environment. This is actually our demo environment that we use when we take clients and we show them, oh, this is virtual production. You can on the stage, you can change the lighting on the left. You can move objects around, change the time of day. But you can see that there's like artifacts, right? For example, like this top left here, like there's some pixelation in the back. You know, the lighting's not fully realistic. You can see there's like some CGI tells there on the left. And also like, it's really hard to, you know, you can't really light like anything on fire in a real stage, right? So this would had to have been a VFX shot traditionally. But just by miming it with his hands and then processing it in Cdance, you were able to get a pretty, you know, it's not perfect, but it is definitely like looking pretty close to what a final shot might look like, and then you can keep directing it from there. Let me actually, before we go to that, let me show you one more that we have here. So we did a couple tests. We did a green screen test, and this is actually a pretty interesting point here. So on the left side, you see we had totally green on the wall here, but there was actually not enough context for the AI to pick up on the motion of the camera. So you actually end up with a static shot, even though our intention was to have it pan. And so our solution for that was just to add some trackers, right? I mean, luckily it's a stage, so this is pretty easy to do, but even if you stuck some stickers on like a traditional green screen, you could achieve the same effect. So now you're able to actually incorporate that camera move into the final render. A couple other fun ones here. So we had some where we went a little bit more like extraterrestrial. Shout out to Hera, who's over behind the brain bar here. She's our talent in this shot. And the biggest thing here is that virtual production has this like limitation of the floors, right? So you see the real floor on the left side, which is the shot that we actually got like on stage. And in order to get around that, traditionally you would have to like actually build a floor. So you'd have to use like a decking and like cover it with materials. There's water in this shot, like good luck with that. So using AI, you're able to do that infill of the ground, and you know, even like the reflections of her pants and shoes against that puddle is rendered with high fidelity, super impressive. And yeah, this kind of shot is just really hard to do with virtual production. Would have required VFX, and we were able to do it very easily with these AI tools. And here's a couple other ones. So here's a driving shot. It's able to get the relighting on the talent pretty well, and we just use like a simple dinner plate as the wheel, and just like a random couch that we had here. And we do these kinds of shoots pretty often. So, you know, this isn't necessarily like the hardest shot to get with virtual production, but you would have normally had to like drive an actual car prop in here, like a full-size car, and then light that and then manage that. And so now we're able to basically just use like a gray box or just household items you have lying around. And this could have even been green. Like there's an argument to be made that you didn't even necessarily need the wall here for this shot. Okay. We've also done some experiments with sports. So here's John again, and this is actually a really interesting example because we didn't actually do this camera move. As you can see, like he's in bullet time. So you'd have to have moved really quickly in order to actually achieve this shot on the left. What we did was we recorded 2 simultaneous angles of the same serve, and then told a video model to interpret between them. And then once we had that, we then used it as an input into a second pass where we actually did the styling with the clothing and the stadium and all of that. So this is a multi-step workflow, and we kind of, you know, there's this idea of like decomposition. So there's a complex shot, there's camera movement, there's lighting replacement, there's outfit replacement. Now, doing all those things in one single pass would be challenging, but if you can break it down, like let's get the camera move in a separate pass, and then let's get that right, and then let's use that as a reference image into another pass to just do the stadium replacement. That way you start to decompose a complex shot into smaller shots, and you have a greater chance of success. You have greater ability to iterate and get to your creative, and it's also like a lot more predictable of a process. Yeah, this is also CDance. Yeah. You've seen this example basically. There's another like replacing the ground. And that's another example. So in the previous one, you just saw the ground, but now you're actually like, we're panning the camera off of the stage entirely, and the AI is able to fill in. So that's another example of this idea of like in painting past the edges of the wall. Cool. Let me see if I have any other fun examples here. Oh, that's basically it. So that's sort of an overview of this idea of hybrid production that we've been working on. Now, in addition to that, we have also found that as a creative team, we run into a lot of blockers around, okay, once you have a bunch of assets, how do you actually use those? How do you manage your workflows? How do you version things? How do you author camera movements? And so that's another product that the team has been working on called ZeroGen. And I have Bill here from the product team of ZeroGen to demonstrate that. So let's give it up for Bill.
I think we could switch the inputs, right? The thing. Hey, everybody. Excited to show you what we've been working on. Let's see. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so this is ZeroGen. As Shui Long said, it has a database at heart. It's very much about files, managing, organizing, but it does all of the basic stuff you would expect to see from any sort of generative platform. This is like your lobby, and you've got 5, 6 surfaces to choose from. And then the one we're all sort of pretty familiar with, right, would be generate, where you can type in prompts and then, make images, make videos, make audio. Pretty familiar. But then we decided, everything here is MCP first, and there's an agent built into our tool. For instance, this is what I'm really excited about, is this blockout tool. So I can just say to it, I can pop up on our agent and say, make a scene of, a family at dinner. And you can just prompt your agent. And so we took the simplest elements that are needed to create blockouts that then you can drive CDance with. So sort of an example to show you would be this, like, this is a blockout. This is how simple you can be in CDance. Just, this is what you need, primitives. You don't need super detailed 3D. And you don't even have to know how to use 3D, which is the really cool thing. So you can take that and then turn that into this. This is kind of part of the inspiration here is, okay, like, we want to take that Blender MCP tool and put it right in, rather than having to go out to another piece of software. And that's consistently the idea here, is like, let's keep everything in the same software. Oh yeah, so look at that. It made the scene. So the agent shows me the history. There's a scene. It's kind of janky, but that's all you need. And then you can move your camera around, set a camera key. So we can set a camera key, and then move to another space, move the timeline, and then move your camera around, add another camera key. I'm not nervous. And then basically it'll play back your camera move. So all you really need to know are some really basic stuff, like, what do I want it to do in the basic, most simplest way. So here's 3 characters at dinner. So this is like 3 characters at dinner, whatever, right? Camera pans. So with our tool, you can hit render, and then render, you can tell it what to turn all these things into. So we'll say a family of brightly colored felt puppets, because we can't say Muppets, making a mess, eating and screaming, and then you can control all these settings. I have everything defaulting to 480 just because it's like production speed and testing, because we're just burning so many credits. And then you hit generate, and then this sends the video directly over to your video tool, and then you get You know, you get a family making a mess, eating dinner. And so you can do this really easily, really quickly, blocking out stuff with primitives and then pushing it right into Cdance. It eliminates the need for Blender. It eliminates the need for even any Blender skills at all, which we're pretty excited about in terms of really quickly visualizing ideas. In the Generate tab, there's also this boards thing I'm playing around with, we're working on, where you can drop storyboards into place and generate a PDF out of it, or like really quickly swap them around to see things side by side. And then plan mode is something I've spent most of this day on trying to refine and refine and refine, where, you know, plan mode is something where you can go in, it's very much driven around the agent experience, where we could say, you know, I'm going to make a project and we'll call it snowboarder, snowboards with a Z, snowboards, and we'll make it a video output. And intelligently, what it does is the agent's basically starting to set up a whole project for you. So it's going to plan with you. It's going to be your partner as you're doing this work. So I can say, you know, it's like, let's make a short film, like make a short 45-second film about a snowboarder. You know, use lots of use POV footage, and then you tell it what you want, the agent's going to do the work, and then it's going to remember everything. And the idea is that it's developing memory per user, and part of the idea is that it's designed around working for brands too. So you can basically fill it with brand identity, brand information, and have it become consistent. So you're consistently outputting material that is of a you know, of the correct identity. So plan mode will plan out your shots. It'll give you a grid. You can generate your shots, slide through them, check them out, and then after you've generated all your shots, you can just push them right into the timeline. So this is one giant surface. Like, this is all these different tools all in one. So you can go directly from a Blender MCP right into Cdance, right into the timeline, and then the timeline will have your film, and then you can obviously edit it however you want. But basically, the friction from going from idea to timeline is zero. And then the real power of this is in the library. So all of the files, all the management, all the assets, everything can get logged, tracked, labeled, organized, and then all of the provenance can be tracked. So you can know where an image was made, how it was made, all the details around it, when it was made, what the prompt was there a prompt, was there an image prompt? So you can easily track all of the provenance of an image. The Intel, I'll show the video from,
Sure.
Yeah. So the Intel step we're still working on. Again, this is all a prototype. We've all just been working on this for a few months. The Intel mode is going to look like this, where you're able to go through it. So this is one example of it. There's a styling studio where you can go through, you pick the props you want to put on your model, and then generate the output for the model, and be able to track all of it. So this is for, like, if you're managing a campaign, or you're trying to manage image generation for a lot of products, this is a way to essentially make that process a lot smoother. And so the Intel, where you can essentially upload all of your products, all your references, and then manage them. And then the last piece here is the talent mode. Talent mode is going to be part of the way that you actually have authorized models, human talent, where you can essentially upload images of them, create a resource, create an actual talent in your library, who then you can repeatedly reuse throughout anything that you make in Cdance or elsewhere. So that's the long and short of it. Any questions?
Well, also, like, give a little bit additional context after you've seen this. So the reason why we built this is we've noticed the same problems come up again and again in our productions, which is context. So how do you actually get the style of your brand, or your script, or your scenes, or your creative direction into the generation process? That's context. We also have control. How do you direct the camera? How do you direct performance? How do you direct set dressing and environment? We have consistency. So how do you get consistent generations, shot over shot, getting this same talent likeness, or the same environment, or the same lighting? And then we have compliance. So this is kind of the one that people talk about the least in these kinds of, like, creator-like communities. But in terms of high-end production, when you're working with brands, commercial agencies, Hollywood studios, this is really, really important. So there have been new regulations passed around the use of synthetic avatars in advertising, for example. And rightfully so, like there's a huge issue in this industry where talent like actors, performers, musicians want to be able to protect their likeness and their voice and their work. And they want to restrict the ways in which AI can be used. Like there shouldn't necessarily be a blank check for someone to start messing around with, their image, and then not for them to sort of lose track of like where that asset ends up going, or who starts using it. So that sort of consideration has been built into this platform from day one. We're still like early and figuring out some of the details here, but there will be a way to, once a talent signs onto a project, be able to track the ways in which their name, image, likeness is used downstream in the generation process, be able to toggle on and off certain features, and then have an audit trail so that the folks who are doing the generations knows that their actions are allowed by the platform, by the contract, and that at the end of the day, when that ad is finished or that film is finished, you have security in knowing that that was created above board, sort of in line with the contracts that were signed at the beginning of the project, as well as any laws and regulations that are in effect around synthetic avatars, or what % of the film was using AI, what % was human creativity. I think there's going to be a lot more sort of interest in having these kinds of details and analytics in the generation process, so that the studios and companies and audiences have more transparency into what's going on behind the scenes. So, as you saw, like Bill showed a really awesome local prototype. There's a lot of bleeding edge features that are being added to this platform every day, and we want to work with you. We want to work with the community and help develop your workflows for your projects. I think that every creator, every company, every team is going to be doing things slightly differently, and we're building our platform in a way that's flexible. We have our MCP first support. We're going to support pretty much all the features in the platform are going to be available as APIs, so that you can use Claude Code, or you can even put up your own interface and hook into the functionality that we've built, so you know that your generations are being metered, that they're running on secure storage. But then if you have a particular workflow, you want to use Comfy, you want to like code your own interface, great, like have at it. So we want to be able to enable all these teams and creators, and that's our philosophy behind building this. We're opening up early access to beta testers, to folks who want to partner with us, and so you can sign up here and get added to our mailing list. We'll reach out with updates, and we're sort of starting to open up access to some folks as early as this week. So you can expect to hear from us soon. And for everyone who's been continuing to come to these events and support this community, I thank you. And this is something that ZeroSpace, the venue, the sponsors, the hosts of this event have been creating. And I hope that you find it useful. I hope that you find it relevant. It's born out of all the experience that we have as a team, and the needs that we see in the industry and in the community. So yeah, thank you. And we'll take a few questions.
When are you looking to like release it live? Like anybody can use it. Like when is that ballpark?
Yeah, I think we're going to aim for that around September. So in the next few weeks, we're going to onboard some early beta testers, and then throughout the summer, we're going to be continuing to refine it. We sort of want to make sure that whoever signs on the platform gets success right away. Right? So there's a ways to go before we can get there. We want to build out more of the features. We want more community feedback. We want more user feedback and testing, and we want to see it used in some real productions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it kind of thing where you would need to bring your own APIs to the models, or?
So in terms of having access to credits to generate, we would basically be providing that, and we would expose all the top models that are used in productions that we think are vetted for the kinds of workflows you would want, and then we would expose them. There's a top-up system where you can buy usage, buy $50 worth of usage, things like that, and use those. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about your plans for like API? Like if I had my own app and I want to integrate, your platform to my app, is it like I have an account there, I create my own workflow, then I can call that workflow, or have like, let's say, I'm already kind of doing this where I expose certain nodes outside to call the API. So like in my app, the user would upload an image, for example.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they
So
can't do other things, but then my workflow would do certain things behind the scene.
yeah, you didn't see like a super complex workflow today, but we'll be demonstrating more of that as time goes on. What this will look like is we'll have like a docs page that tells you, okay, here are the tools that your agent can use in the platform. You feed that to your agent, and then you also give it an API key. So you just go into the ZeroGen platform, you'll create an API key, you'll configure that for your agent, and then it'll be able to access like all these tools. And you can also author workflows. Like for example, you can build in a 3D scene in our editor, and then using your agent outside of ZeroGen, you can set camera angles and you can set CDNs generations off of those or other video generations, and then download those videos, put them into Premiere or DaVinci or your NLE, and go from there. We want to add in enough functionality so you don't have to leave to do basic things. Like for example, if you have a sequence of shots and you want to swap out a shot, you want to try some variations, right? You want to maybe try generating like 5 different things, and ordinarily you'd have to download each one and then like put it into your editor and then have to look at it. But that's why we built a timeline view so that you can put them all in the timeline, you can swap them out really quickly, and then find the one that works the best, and then you can finish it in your NLE. You'll be able to export and download like a Final Cut Pro, like XML file, Premiere Pro, DaVinci, that kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I had 2 questions. One was, do you feel that when you are making these generations, does it work better to have the screen for context, or do you often feel that even in that it could be misguiding because it's often better to let the AI come up with all those extra details? Because even if, for instance, you have that screen behind you, it works for some context and it helps envision the scene, but the depth is not truly there. And so it's, if anything, it's misleading the AI to have a false sense of depth. Have you do you agree with that, or is that something that that you feel like the screen has this ability to do and steer more of it in ways that you would have a hard time without it?
It's a really, really good question, and I wish I had like the definitive answer for you, but I don't, because we're still figuring out what works best with the wall. Here's a couple things that we do know. One, even if you're using, even if you don't have a wall, even if you're using green screen, you still want tracking markers. So you saw that example where without tracking markers, it actually didn't pick up on the camera movement. It was once we added those markers that it was able to deduce like how the camera should pan and then apply that to the final shot. The other thing that we notice is that as much as possible, it is useful to get your lighting tuned in. So if you're doing an outdoor shot, you want like a bright direct source, or even shoot it outside. Going from like fluorescent lighting to bright outdoors can have more of an issue. It's really like trying to get as close as you can to the final output and then letting AI fill the gap instead of asking AI to do everything, right? So that's kind of the directability and control aspect of this. So it can do a lot. It might break down on certain scenes, so it's like a case by case basis. But getting the lighting right is also like pretty valuable. Things like props and like foreground objects are really good. Like if your talent is actually like interacting with something, then having like a prop or like a mock-up of that is really helpful as well.
Awesome.
We found, for example, like we had a motion capture knights, and we had these like foam swords, and because that was an object that moves really quickly throughout the scene, it was harder for the AI to convert that into a metal sword than if we had actually used like a metal sword. Obviously, that's tricky for like safety reasons, but yeah, that's one example we found in our testing. So we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to share learnings and figure it out as we go.
Okay, awesome. And the next question is really quick. I just don't know if I missed it or not. Do you, within the platform, do you have the ability to extend clips?
Yeah. So extending clips is kind of an interesting problem because you have models that can extend clips already. But then we were also have been working on our own like Comfy UI workflows that do these like transitions. And it's tricky because oftentimes like if you're trying to splice together two clips, you might have subtle variations in color balance and saturation from clip to clip. So yeah, that's been an area of research for us, is like getting that dialed in better and better. But definitely like there, if there's a commercial like API to extend a clip, we'll have implemented that. So if there's a model like Kling that already lets you do that, we'll have that in there. If there is a model that doesn't let you do that out of the box, then we're going to start building in some custom workflows that do that for you.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the big things I've had is keeping the motion of a shot. Is once it's extended, it could slight variations make it a bit slower or faster, things like that. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, more questions? Okay, we'll go here and then back there.
So thanks for sharing a lot of great examples. So I come from more probably less creative AI background. So I noticed a lot of model you guys try, right? Like in the creative kind of industry, you probably care less about physics. But since you are start doing a lot of sports, so I wonder, other than those generic Gen AI model, like even say dance, they're not considered true word model. Have you guys played with some sort of those like actual word model that's starting coming out that actually has physics built in? I think just to be like realistic, right? So
Yeah.
have you tried those?
Yeah, we've started experimenting with world models. One early use case is actually putting them on the wall so that as you're directing a scene, you can actually prompt for changes and see them like update immediately. That's kind of an interesting use case. Not exactly what you're talking about. However, I will say that like generative world models today are even worse than the top video models in terms of physics, at least from what I've seen. I really look forward to a day when they are as good or better, and to start to use them in our workflows. Yeah, unless there's like a new world model.
I
that
think
you,
because of those Gen AI model were trained on social media data, like video. So that's why they're probably good for that reason. But if you're picking someone else, like if you're doing F1, like tennis, that actually build a lot of actual physics, I don't know if that's actually true, rather than you just do like a 3-second social video. So just to be like responsible AI. Yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely. And there's still an argument to be made to use 3D engines for physics simulations, and it takes more time. Maybe you fire up Houdini, maybe you run a simulation, but if you want like really nice physics, and the AI is not able to get that like as a one shot, then giving it like a gray box reference of how exactly things in the scene should move, we found is really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, how efficient do you find the gray boxing in terms of like costs? Everything I've been doing like today, it's just like I'll just honestly reprompt the video model, right, without even using Blender as kind of the intermediate step. But it sounds like it could be really effective if it's cheap enough, right, to get the camera moving down and the scene down, right, really well before I go to video.
Yeah, I mean, there's time efficiency and then there's token efficiency. I would say like if you want that control, it's worth putting in the time. Like if you're a director who cares about how exactly the camera moves throughout the scene, there is no substitute for having 3D camera control for your shot. In terms of token efficiency, what you saw today was Three.js with an agent attached that could do basic tools inside the scene, like change, rotate an object, move an object, change the camera. There's really very little lighting tools. There's very little rendering and material tools. But even then, we were able to find that like, okay, like this agent maybe cost us 50 cents in terms of token costs to build up an entire 3D scene with primitives. And then if a CDance generation is like $3 or $4, and you have to do that like 3 times versus getting it right on the first try by using this gray box, then yeah, in terms of cost savings, it's also pretty efficient.
Hey, thanks so much for both of those. For the virtual production, have you tried Beeble for relighting and sort of doing flat lighting? I was wondering what you thought of that.
Yeah. We've done a couple experiments with Beeble, and we're still in the process. I would say it's a very powerful tool. I think it does struggle with like really drastic changes, but we still have to do more testing.
Yeah, because I'm curious on that in terms of just flat lighting and using Beeble and in that direction, and then
Like
the
getting
other,
flat lighting,
super flat,
time of capture, and then
going
restyle.
really gray box, super flat lighting, and then letting people do the relight. And then for you, I thought the what were you calling it? The boxes with the that's genius. I thought it was great to put it in there, and I was wondering if you'd ever have kind of deploy a standard Hollywood coverage within that.
Exactly.
Would
Yeah.
be really cool. If you could just have a kit of like medium close up, wide shot, 2 shot.
Yes.
Like just so people just have it.
Yeah, we should talk.
Yeah. Because then that is like scene continuity in a box, which would be amazing to have.
So on the roadmap, it's like our agents in the program are going to have like a knowledge base, and we're going to be essentially having them understand. They're going to be different agents where there'll be a cinematographer agent, a screenwriter agent, a director agent, and they're able to actually discern and differentiate at a high level what's necessary to automate stuff. You're exactly right. Yeah, cool. I think that's it, right? Are there any questions?
One more question.
One more question.
I'm curious to hear more about the talent tab in the app, and like, is that per project or for the whole platform? People can use that talent, and when do you need to use the talent versus when can you just use like whatever comes out of the model, basically?
Yeah, good question. So it matters if you need it. If you don't know that you need it, you probably don't need it. So the reason why we built that, right, is because when you're working with, for example, like SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, there are specific regulations that they've put in place to protect the rights, the name, image, likeness rights of their members, who are the film actors. So if you're working in that sort of space, then it is actually a requirement in your project to be able to have a portal where you can create like entries, like here's my lead actor, here's my supporting actor. Every actor in your film gets their own sort of entry into this talent database. And then for each talent, per their contract, there are certain things you can and cannot do. So for example, maybe you can use it in a wide shot, but not a close-up shot, because they want to make sure that a close-up shot with expressions and that kind of performance is still captured on set, like with an actual camera and makeup, wardrobe, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you can clone their voice, but you can't do a deep fake. So for all these capabilities that we have that we showed off, there's a subset of that you'll be allowed to use. And so the talent portal allows you to toggle on and off those controls for the rest of the creative team. So if you're like an admin, or you're like a producer on the project, you'll be able to take the contract and then apply that to the actions that the rest of the creative team can make. And then you can also have audit logs that sort of tell you, okay, like their image was used in this way on this shot, for example. And this is something that you only care about if you have to. So I think for most people, this is like not super relevant. But for those for whom it is relevant, there's not really any other solution that exists today that can do that.
We do one more back here and then come back.
Hi, thank you. I'm curious if you have a script already, what is the best use of zero gen, but you don't have any directing or DP experience, but you want to learn?
Yeah, great question. And Bill can probably fill in after I give my answer. So Bill briefly showed off a plan mode. And this plan mode basically takes in like your creative brief or your script and then suggests a storyboard, suggests a shot list, and it's very agentic, it's very conversational. So if you're a little bit newer and you want some guidance and direction on how you should actually take your script and then plan out your shots, it can do that. And it can also take in visual references that you might have from other films or photography or just synthetically generated images that you might have, and then sort of synthesize that all together into a plan and talk you through it. Okay, cool.
All right, any more questions? Okay.
All right. Yeah, so I'll be here. And also, if you're interested in what we're doing, please sign up on our waitlist and we'll be in touch. And I look forward to working with all of you.
All right. Thank you, Shalom. Thank you, Bill. That was the last presentation. We have one more thing for you, which is really exciting. So we have, so last month was the AI Film Festival that Runway hosted, which also coincided with the Tribeca Film Festival. And thousands of AI filmmakers around the world submitted for it. There were a bunch of people in this room that went to that event that I saw at. And so they, I had the privilege of interviewing a few of them, and I recorded those interviews exclusive for everybody here. And I'm gonna show some of the interviews. It really shows off the state of the art today for AI filmmaking, right? So these are these are some really interesting people that made these films. So I picked two films. The first one I interviewed the filmmaker in through a video. The second one we went back and forth in email, and I took I kind of took the back and forth and generated it using text to speech. But here we'll show those two films along with the interviews to show you guys, get a sense of what the latest AI models are able to do.
I'll do my intro. I'm Robert Cadet. I started into AI full-time about 3.5 years ago. Primarily still do pre-production as a source of income. But once Seedance 2 came out, I started to experiment with like short form filmmaking. My work history is in the 90s. I was in tech. I was part of a startup. During the glory days of the tech boom, it was a lot of fun. And then everybody knows that the bubble burst. And so that kind of came to a close. After that, I went into photography. I was a commercial photographer for about 10 years. I was working in nonprofits and I started to play with DALL-E and Midjourney as soon as those products were available. And then slowly turned a side hustle into a full-time gig. I made the film in April of this year. I knew AI was going to be a great medium for me because I had no budget. So I just made it as a personal project. And once I finished it, I thought I had something special. So I entered it into the Runway Film Festival, and here we are.
I'm curious for the process that you've followed with this particular film.
Yeah, so I have used node-based tools like Comfy, but I didn't use it on this project. I had a lot of control over each step, and I was very credit conscious. And so I was not automating anything I was going step by step. But so the character started in Grok, and then I brought it over to Nana Banana Pro and created my character sheets. And then I created any additional objects that needed consistency, like the flower bouquet, the environments. The environments I actually created in Seedance first. So what I did was generate the scene with a scene description, export the still image from the video, take it over to GPT image 2, and then ask it to remove the character. And then you end up with a nice plate. C-Dance does quite a good job with cinematic lighting. So on this project, I didn't do any image to video. I used all C-Dance, and so I just fed references for everything. Yeah, there were some consistency challenges, especially in the environments. Then I did the traditional stuff like upscaling, Topaz video, fixed compression, all that stuff. I used Suno to score the film and 11 Labs for the narration, voiceover. Yeah, so I didn't keep a perfect tally, but I would say I probably spent around $1,000 to make the film. I wasn't doing 20 generations. I was getting stuff in 5. You'll notice there's a lot of center composition, like a Wes Anderson in it. That wasn't necessarily my goal, but I wasn't trying to impose strict composition on the film. I didn't think it needed it. As long as things served the story, I kind of ran with it and made a lot of compromises. And I think that allowed me to generate it more cheaply.
This is Marcel Dupont. He's 38 years old. He takes his coffee black. He's watching his weight. He owns 41 masks, a record player, and the unshakable belief that one day someone will ask him to dance. He has been ready for years. Marcel considers himself a late bloomer. His mother had told him so. She was a florist. She would know. Every morning, Marcel greets the baker on Rue Clément. He knows the baker's name, his wife's name, and the names of their 2 cats.
Bonjour Bernard. The brioche smells like a Tuesday miracle.
The baker has never learned Marcel's. Marcel interprets this as professional discretion.
Bonjour.
He respects it enormously. Marcel's father was a man of extraordinary imagination. He was, Marcel believed, the most creative person who had ever lived. When Marcel was 3, his father invented a game. He called it the mask game. The rules changed every time. The wonder never did. Over 7 years, his father gave him 41 masks. Each one chosen, Marcel was certain, with tremendous care and great love. Marcel catalogued each one by date and occasion. He still has the catalogue. His father, he always assumed, had one too. One afternoon, his father arrived with nothing. No matter. He produced a paper bag, a pair of scissors, and in 3 cuts, he had created a face. Marcel thought, my father can make anything. He still thinks this.
Que tu répètes la même chose. Mais je peux pas faire autrement. Ça fait
His father left 3 weeks later. Marcel understood. A man with such a gift for invention could not be expected to stay in one place. One day, Marcel assumed he would inherit the creative empire his father was of building. Every evening, Marcel clears the kitchen floor. He places a needle on the record. He raises his left hand to shoulder height. He dances. He has been doing this for 11 years. He is by now very good. Every Halloween, his mother would take his hand and walk him through the park to the better neighborhoods. The chocolate is different there, she said. You can taste the difference. Marcel had never been able to taste the difference, but he believed she was right. She usually was. His mother passed away 4 years ago, and walking the park had become a ritual. At 9:47 on the 31st of October, a woman in a mask sat down beside Marcel. She did not cross the street. She did not find something urgent elsewhere to be doing. She sat down. They talked for 3 hours and 40 minutes. Marcel counted. It was the longest conversation of his entire life. He did
Tomorrow.
not want it to end.
Same bench. Bring something to eat.
Marcel said yes. He did not yet know that by midnight he would be standing in front of a mirror, remembering things he had spent 38 years not remembering. The boys on Rue Descartes. The names they had for him: Monstre, Le Crapaud. For 38 years his mother's voice had been louder. Tonight it wasn't.
Ça sera bien, maman.
The next morning, Marcel did not go to the bakery. Bernard did not notice. That afternoon, Marcel ironed his shirt 4 times. He polished his boots as best as 20-year-old boots can be polished. He wondered briefly if he was her type. His mother had always told him that most people only see the outside of things. But somewhere in the world, she said, there are people with different eyes, people who see straight through, to the inside. Marcel did not know exactly what she meant, but Marcel had never doubted this. He had so far simply not met one. He got as far as the corner of Rue Descartes, near enough to see her, not near enough to be seen. He was late. She was still there. She said she had seen him wave on Rue Clément once. She was 12. He was wearing a blue coat. She had been practicing her wave ever since. She said she knew he took his coffee at the 3rd table. She knew he always gave the last of his bread to the smallest pigeon. She knew he tipped his hat to people who had already looked away. She said she knew he danced, that on Tuesday evenings, if the window was open, you could hear the record from the street. That she had stood outside his window in the dark and listened to him dance alone. And that she had never rung the bell. Every evening, Marcel clears the kitchen floor. He places a needle on the record. He raises his left hand to shoulder height. He dances.
We're Mathery, a directing duo, and Where Nights Fall started with a picture we just couldn't stop thinking about. This film is entirely AI-generated. Music is libraries, sound mixing, and some sound design by ZenX Studio. We simply wanted to give a traditional story a spin and create a world that felt dreamy but familiar in a way, taking place in that fairy tale book someone bought you on a Christmas in the 80s, 90s. We wanted characters to be slightly contemporary, dyed hair, piercing, cool haircuts, to bond with our audience and create a medieval world that doesn't feel like a traditional period piece. Everything, even if it's AI, is highly crafted in every frame and shot, and we have used Nano Banana, Kling, and Flow. We took a classic fairy tale setup and flipped it backwards. Some people think you type a sentence and the whole movie just falls out, but it really doesn't work like that. We're in there sweating every single frame. The way the light hits, where somebody's standing, how long a look holds before we cut, and all of that is us making choices until it actually feels right. And that's kind of the whole point for us. This isn't AI coming to replace filmmaking. It's just a new way to make stuff. It's its own thing with its own quirks and its own rules that we're honestly still figuring out. This film is us figuring them out and having a lot of fun doing it. So come hang out in the tower for a few minutes. Take a look down at everyone who fell. And keep your eye on the one weirdo who actually makes it to the top, just not the way anybody saw coming.
My dear Lord, I don't want to die alone.
Share your hearth, your shield, and your spirit from this day forth. By the ancient laws of love and honor, I name you life mates. You may now seal your bond.
Love it, so edgy. T, trust me, long hair is such a burden.
Sorry, sweetheart. They keep sliding away.
All right, that was it. Those were two of the, I think, 7 or 8 winning films. I recommend going check out the website where you can see the rest of the winning films. I thought it was really interesting that these filmmakers, for example, Robert shared that it took him about $1,000 to produce the film start to finish, right? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all for coming tonight. Hope you enjoyed the programming, the speakers. If you want to go to more events like these, we host these every month. You can sign up at luma.com/ZeroSpace, subscribe to our calendar, you'll get notified. We have an exciting slate of events coming up next month. We're going to do Dat Lab NYC, which is basically creative technology, art and technology, creative coding. That's at the end of the month on July 31st, which is a Friday. You can sign up for that. The page isn't up yet, but we'll have it up soon. And then we'll do another NYC Creative AI event in August, as well as a physical AI event. So if you're interested in that, definitely be sure to follow. Yeah.
And lastly, if you work at a creative AI company and you are looking to present or reach a community, we are looking for sponsors. So please come and talk to me afterwards.
Yeah. And then if you are interested in presenting your work as a creative or developer, we have a sign-up form for people to come present at our following meetup. So be sure to check that out. If you perform, we're also thinking about having like a live performance aspect. We've done it in the past. It's gone really well, especially like using AI or world models or interactive sensors. And yeah, I think that's it. We're gonna mingle for a little bit, but try to get people out of the room so we can strike and close up the studio. And if you want to continue hanging out, there's a awesome brewery called Threes, 2 blocks away. You just like spell out THREES, and we're gonna start sending convoys of people over there, and you guys can hang out. They have a really nice outdoor space.
All right. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Well, thank you.